Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lukachu 32 International Geopolitical Report. This is something new I'm going to be doing whenever I feel like it. It's not going to be a daily thing. I cannot do something like this every single day, okay? But maybe every week or two, something like that, if I remember and if I feel like it. We're going to be going over what's going on in the world of what's going on in the world. That's actually that right there is a good enough sentence. So I have this map I made here. It is on Google Earth. I'll link it in the description here, and we're gonna go over what's happening in Ukraine, what's going on, and also the rest of the world if there is any significant news. And this map is not finished. I still need to, add like Syria. I need to do Syria and Iraq, and I've done Yemen and Somalia. So we have the Houthis. A rough front line. This is rough. This is not exact. This is kind of roughly where it is. I tried to be as precise as possible, but let's get into this right here. We're gonna start in Ukraine here. So this is what the front line of Ukraine looks like. This is Kharkiv. This is the second largest city in Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. And these little X's right here indicate just destroyed bridges and whatnot. So there is fighting all across the front line here. The blues represents the Ukrainian forces right here, and you can see the individual units. This list is most likely not comprehensive. This list comes from militaryland.net, so thank you and shout out to them for that, for their work here. I believe that this comes from the military, or the Ministry of Defense from Ukraine itself, so it should be fairly accurate. So along the front line here, Ukrainians managed to recapture this town. According to Rybar, a pro-Russian analyst, Russians captured this town like I'm not sure how long ago, probably a week ago maybe. And according to him, on his map, the Ukrainians have it again. So a small village. Fighting continues for the fairly decently sized town of Udi, which is on the way, to Kharkiv. So the Russian goal here is to just keep a presence westward of the Siersky Donetsk River right here. You can see. Keep a position westward of it. Keep this bridgehead. Make sure that Ukrainian artillery doesn't get in the way of Belgorod. I think I pronounced this right. My pronunciation is not going to be very good with the Slavic names, so please forgive me for that. But their goal is to keep this sort of bridgehead, I guess you can say, keep distance between this important supply hub. You can see the highways that come into Ukraine here, and it's important that the Russians keep this because they will. They could try to capture this entire oblast. You can see the dotted line here. Russians actually control a pretty decent amount of Kharkiv Oblast, which is that's just a way of saying province, the province slash state, And Kharkiv is a very, very important city to Ukraine. It is the second largest, as I said. So this province here is very important. So Russia may want to take that after they take the Donbass region. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about the Izum front for a second here. Russian Ministry of Defense released a map, and it allegedly shows that they have these towns. I don't know. I'm going to wait for more confirmation, as well as Dolina and Krasnopolina as well. I'm not sure. Some maps uh, actually show Russia in control of this town already before the MOD map. So I don't know. I'm going to wait for more confirmation before I mark it as Russian controlled, because yes, it is the Russian Ministry of Defense, so it is a pretty official statement. But I don't know if there could be contradicting information. I just don't know. So we're gonna leave it like this for now. As well, there's of course I'm not gonna mark fighting and like stuff like that, because this map will be like filled up. I'm not gonna mark like artillery shelling or anything like that, because unless it's significant, like a big ammo dump being destroyed or something like that. But I'm trying to keep it relatively clean, except for all of these these markers about the entrenchment. But I believe that that's relevant and that it's useful to have those. So this isn't all the towns they claim. There's actually towns down here in the southern front that they claim control over, and sort of towns over here, but I haven't marked those. They claimed a lot of towns that no other source said that the Russians controlled. The Russians said that we have this town, and a lot of maps say that they didn't have the town under their control. So it is odd. I haven't reported all the question marks, but there are some question marks like around Novopil and sort of around here and around in the Kherson front. But I'll probably mark those tomorrow. Anyways, about the situation near Siversk, Bilogorivka and Verkhoyansk. I don't know who is in control of these towns, so I'm going to leave them unmarked. I still don't know. It's been a while. I do think that the Russians control this kind of area right here between these two towns. Several maps show that they have something, like a salient, I suppose, a push out near City Branca and sort of near Siversk itself. So, but about these two towns, I don't know if the Russians control half, if they control a little bit, if they control all of it. Some maps show Belogorivka under complete Russian control. Some maps say that it's under Ukrainian control. The situation is completely unknown. So we're going to have to wait and see more information. Siversk is a very important city because from Siversk to Solidar to Bakhmut is a decent defensive line before the Slavyansk Kramatorsk or Slavyansk Konstantinivka line, and this is the most important. This is the most important string of cities in the war. These are some of the most important cities of the war, because if these cities falls, there is no equivalent defensive line until Kayemske, Dnipro, and Zaporozhye, all the way over on the Dnieper River. So that is according to U.S. intelligence. I've heard. I've actually seen the report myself, so I would love to read the report, but I don't know where to exactly find it. But several people, trusted sources, have said that the United States has said that if this line falls, then the next equivalent defensive line is on the Dnieper River. So, if this line falls, all of the Donbass will be under Russian control, and they might even be able to push into Pavlohrad and on the Dnieper itself, which would be a massive defeat for Ukraine if that were to take place. At Solidar, Russian forces continue to uh, push into the city and the surrounding areas. At Prikhovske, Russian forces are fighting for the town, I believe. Klinova, the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense actually disputes the control of Klinova, but I have it under Russian control for now. And at the power plant here, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it is a power plant, as you can see here, and it has mechanized brigades defending it, which is the best, which is some of the best soldiers Ukraine has are in the mechanized brigades. And there's a Russian push towards uh, Simaihara, I believe that's how you pronounce it. This doesn't this sort of arrow here doesn't necessarily mean Russia is in control. It just means that there's an offensive there. So same thing with, like, if you see these arrows, it means that there's kind of an offensive in that general direction. So this is a big salient. Ukraine wants to hold this line right here. They want to be able to hold this front line right here because it has Bakhmut and Seversk. We just talked about that, so they are really fighting for this power plant, and they're really fighting for this area, despite the fact that there is a risk of encirclement. So we'll have to see what happens here. If the Russians do manage to encircle units, that will be very devastating for the Ukrainian defense. But I think eventually this position will fall. I think the Ukrainians will eventually retreat from this position. Um, so we're gonna move on. No real updates on these fronts because this is not where the main fighting is at. Although Ukraine did manage to recapture some towns, this was a few days ago. I should actually mark when this happened, like in here, like the date that it happened. But they managed to recapture some towns here, and there are talks. Ukraine says that there will be an offensive in the Kherson region, that they're going to try to recapture the city. This is where a lot of the HIMARS, the advanced American-made multi-rocket launch missile systems. I believe I said that right. They launch missiles and rockets, and they're powerful and advanced weapon systems. And they've targeted the bridges across the Dnipro. So they are, and they have attacked weapon and ammo dumps and what they think have been weapon and ammo dumps. Russia claims that Ukraine actually attacked a fertilizer around this region. I don't exactly remember where, but they claim that it was actually just fertilizer and farming equipment and not a weapons and ammo dump that they attacked. But there's no way of knowing. So you just have to believe who you want to believe. And I think that this offensive at Kherson, if it is going to happen, is probably not going to succeed because, in my general opinion, Ukraine doesn't have a way to win this war unless I really can't think of any way Ukraine could win this war. But we will have to see. I think this offensive in Kherson that's been going around, the talks of this offensive, it might not even happen because why would you? Because the Ukrainians themselves have announced that that's what they're planning on doing, and I don't understand why you would do that. Why would you announce where you're going to attack? maybe the Russians just kind of already know, and so what's even the point in keeping it a secret? Maybe it's something like that. Maybe this is going to be just another PR stunt. The Ukrainian government loves its PR stunts. Everything at Snake Island right here, and there's so many PR stunts that they do to try to keep Western support, try to keep the Western public and the Western countries in support of Ukraine and to keep sending them weapons. I think that's a large part of it. It also serves a purpose of keeping the morale of the civilians and the soldiers high, although the morale of the soldiers is not high. There are tons of videos of soldiers saying that they want to give up and they want to surrender. They just want to end this war, that they're not willing to fight for Ukraine anymore. So the Ukraine's doing everything they can to keep the morale from dipping to a critical point. But we'll see what happens in Kherson. Russia also, the Russian Ministry of Defense map claims more like towns in this area, and whatnot. So I think that is it for the front line here. Here you can, I should click on this so you can see what kind of forces are there. A lot of mechanized brigades. They are damaged. They're not at full strength. No brigades at full strength, Russian or Ukrainian, but the fact that there are quite a lot of mechanized brigades from here. Although some mechanized brigades have been redeployed from here to the Siversk front, so that's why I think the offensive either isn't going to happen or isn't going to work out as they think it will. Because if they're redeploying forces from Kherson to Siversk, then that says a lot. That goes to show that they really don't have offensive capabilities if they need to, and they don't have enough troops. Also, I forgot to go over, but the Kraken Intelligence Battalion, HUR, has been redeployed to Siversk, as well as the 115th Mechanized Brigade and the 102nd Defense Brigade have all been redeployed to the Siversk region. Deployed/redeployed, I suppose. I'm not sure if they were redeployed or just newly deployed, but this area is getting reinforced. You can see here just how many units are in this area, including Foreign Legion, Azov Battalion, Azov Regiment, or a part of the Azov Battalion. You know, so a lot of motorized brigade, a lot of mechanized brigades, as well as down here. There's obviously, I said, mechanized brigades. So this area has. This is where the bulk of the fighting will be happening. This is where the main front line is happening. Also, Russia claims that 4 HIMAR high precision launch rocket systems is what HIMAR stands for, by the way. High precision, high mobility. I'm pretty sure it's high precision or high mobility. I think it's one of the other. I'm not super great with remembering these military acronyms here. I just figured out what a HIMAR was like when I didn't even know what a HIMAR was until America sent it to them and I looked it up. So they are powerful weapon systems, though. They are good weapon systems. So the Russian MOD claims that 4 have been destroyed, and here America is sending 4 more HIMARS to Ukraine. So Russia claims that 4 have been destroyed, and America is now sending 4 more. So I think those 4 have been destroyed, if this is the case. If they are sending 4 more HIMARS. So speaking of equipment being sent, the United States may provide new fighter jets to Ukraine. These are likely going to be like F-16s, older F-16 variants, maybe even older models than the F-16. But there is no confirmation yet that this is going to be happening. You can I'll link this in I'll link this map in the description so you can read the article. This is just an article from the Hill, so I don't really I think that these fighters will prove useful, but here's the problem is that it will take a long time to train the Ukrainian pilots with these fighters, a long time. So I'm not sure exactly how long it takes to train somebody with the F-16 or the Eurofighter or the Griffin or the Rafale or I don't know, but it's quite a while. So will it be enough in time? That is the main question. But we'll always have to see. I think that does it for the military summary. Now we're gonna move on to other summaries like politics and I suppose there actually is a military. There's stuff happening in Iraq, but we're gonna get to that. But this is an interesting development here. A deal has been reached between Russia and Ukraine, hosted by Turkey in Istanbul, or Tükiye, I should say. This Google Earth needs to update the name. Turkey changed its name to Tükiye as the new name, so we're gonna say that. Uh, so in Tükiye and Istanbul, a deal is reached between Russia and Ukraine to resume grain exports from the Black Sea ports of Odessa. Russia has been blockading and mining the Black Sea and blockading Odessa from grain exports, but a deal was reached. So I haven't actually read this article, but let's create it. This is from Reuters. Russia and Ukraine signed a landmark deal on Friday to reopen Ukrainian Black Sea ports for grain exports, raising hope that international food crisis aggravated by the Russian invasion can be eased. The accord crowned 2 months of talks brokered by the United Nations and Tükiye, a NATO member that has good relations with both Russia and Ukraine and controls the straits leading into the Black Sea, of course, the Dardanelles. And I forget, I think this is just the Gallipoli Strait. And this is Marmara. This is the Sea of Marmara right here. So, Turkey actually has not a super great relation with Russia. Actually, in like 2015, I believe, Turkey shot down a Russian fighter jet in Syria, I believe. So there was a lot of tension between Turkey and Russia. But relations have stabilized and relations have improved since then. So Turkey is not pro-Western, nor are they, pro-China or pro-Russia. They are their own power. Let's say they have an independent foreign policy, and they pursue their own interests. Their interests don't really align with anybody else's interests. They are a powerful and independent player in the world, in the crossroads between Europe and the Near East. But this is a good thing, just objectively overall. I don't see how anyone could see this as a bad thing. So this is good news. So hopefully this will ease the food crisis. But you know that is good for Turkey to do that. But at the same time, we're gonna move on over here. 8 killed and 23 injured in an attack on in the Kurdish-controlled part of Iraq on a resort people were killed here. Turkey claims that they were, attacking. I believe they claimed something like. I don't know the full story. This happened a few days ago, but attacking the PKK. The PKK is a Kurdish militia that Turkey considers a terrorist group, and I suppose they do partake in terrorist activities, but other countries don't consider them a terrorist group, and like Western countries don't really consider them a terrorist group. Some do, some don't. So this is right near the Kurdish Iraq border, and Turkey has uh, military bases in the north of Iraq, and so this is a complex situation. I haven't actually mapped out Kurdistan and stuff, unfortunately. So, but the border is roughly something like this. If you can see the yellow line, this is very rough, but roughly something like this is actually it's something like this. Iraq actually controls Mosul, so it's actually a bit something like that. So this is where the Kurdish part of Iraq kind of is, very roughly. And in the capital, hundreds were protesting the Turkish embassy, and Iraq even sent troops to guard the Turkish embassy, and there were people who apparently the Turkish flag was taken down from the embassy. I'm not sure who did that, whether it was someone who broke in or the Turkish staff themselves. I don't know. But there's a lot of tension right now between Iraq and Turkey, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what chances of this boiling over into a greater conflict, but it is escalation in the Middle East. Kurdistan and the Kurds have always been a flashpoint in global politics, modern global politics. So, and as well as one last thing here, in Rome, the Italian Parliament has dissolved. This was a few years ago. So the Italian Prime Minister resigned Thursday after his ruling coalition fell apart. The country's president dissolved the parliament, which paves the way for new elections, although no date was set. I believe there's an update to this. I've heard that September there will be elections, so I'm not too familiar with the politics of Italy, although I do believe a right wing coalition is in power at the moment. So, as well as obviously the news of Boris Johnson resigning and the race to prime ministership in the United Kingdom, the race to power there, as well as the assassination of the former prime minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. There is there's a reason why I'm starting to make these videos now is because a lot is happening. Tensions are really ramping up, and the world is sort of getting hotter, I suppose you could say. I don't mean that in like a climate change sense. I mean that in like a metaphorical sense. I'm not an expert on climate change at all, so I don't actually know anything. So that was not a climate change comment. World tension is rising, the heat is rising, so to say, right? So I'm sure there's more news than this, but it's hard to cover everything. I'll try to be as extensive as possible on my next reports. So also, but I forgot to mention this, but you could probably already tell that the white here are pipelines. So I've mapped out some pipelines here. I might not, I might, disable these, not delete them, but I can, sort of hide them away if it's distracting. But I believe it provides quite a bit of context to the European energy situation. Nord Stream 1, by the way, is back online. It was scheduled for maintenance, but Nord Stream 1 is back online. Germany is still buying gas from Nord Stream, although it's not as much, I believe. So I'll try to get more news in next time, but this has been the Lukachu 32 global analysis report for, what is it, July 22nd? July 23rd? I don't even know what day it is, but please like, comment, subscribe, share your thoughts, and share your criticisms. Any opinions you have on anything and any questions you have, I'll try to answer in my opinion, and I'll try to give you an objective report. I try to be as objective as possible. I will try to be as objective as possible, because I want to know the truth. I want to know what the facts. I don't want to know what. I don't want to believe in any narrative. I want to believe in the truth. So I'll try to give objective reports. I will. I might start giving my opinion, but well, I do. I just did on Ukraine. I gave my opinion there, but it's my opinion. I could be totally wrong. Don't ever take my opinion as complete fact, and don't ever take anything I say as complete fact when it regards to my opinion. Obviously, this stuff right here is true because it's reported in the news. But like the news, I say stuff. Take my opinions with a grain of salt, I would say, and I try to keep the reporting as factual as possible. If there are any corrections, I'll post it in the comment or in the next report. So I think this was a good first episode. Thank you for watching, and let's see what happens in the future. Hopefully, things will calm down. Hopefully, peace will prevail. But I suppose that's all I have to say. Okay, well, goodbye.